Hi, I'm Ashura, and welcome to my story playthrough of Ashenvale, the second zone in my loremaster playthrough of all of the classic Night Elf zones. With this series, I hope to make the older story a lot more accessible to people who either maybe don't really care to play through the quests themselves or don't actually read the quests, but are still interested in the story and what's going on. So I will be going through all of the quests, reading them out loud, talking about some lore fun facts along the way, but mostly providing some context and background lore I think you need to get a more complete idea of the story of this zone. Especially since classic quests by themselves don't typically paint a complete picture. It's usually not until Cataclysm that we really get a greater understanding of the lore and story that's going on in classic stuff. So before we jump into the quests, I want to talk a little bit about Ashenvale lore. So Ashenvale actually used to be much bigger than it is now in-game. It used to include both the entirety of Felwood and also, according to the non-canon RPG, so take this with a grain of salt, Azshara. It's just that Azshara was apparently renamed as a reminder of the elves' mistakes, and then Felwood got corrupted in the Third War, but more on that later. Beyond that, Ashenvale is one of the most historically significant zones to the Night Elves. A lot of stuff in Night Elf history has happened here. Starting with the War of the Satyr, which happened about 700 years after the War of the Ancients, and was pretty much just a war between the Satyr and the Night Elves that actually led to the creation of the Worgen. I'm gonna hold off on getting into more detail about that until later because we will be able to do the Scythe of Elune quest chain in Classic Ashenvale, which is sort of going to take us through some Worgen lore, but most of the lore revolving around the War of the Satyr we didn't actually get until Cataclysm and the Curse of the Worgen comic. So I'm not gonna get into that right now, but I will in the future. Another thing that happened in Ashenvale was the exile of the Highborn. So during the War of the Ancients, much of the upper caste of Night Elven nobility, or the Highborn, were aligned with Azshara and the Burning Legion. But there was a small group of Highborn rebels that decided to go against them and actually join the Night Elven Rebellion. So after the War of the Ancients and the Sundering, they reintegrated into Night Elf society. But since their usage of arcane magic is what drew the Burning Legion to Azeroth in the first place, the Night Elves forbade any use of arcane or sorcery whatsoever. The Highborn took issue with this, because not only did they consider arcane magic their birthright, it was also sort of addictive, and they couldn't really help themselves, even under punishment of death. And so the Highborn unleashed a massive magical storm across Ashenvale, and Malfurion and Tyrande pretty much put their foots down and exiled the Highborn. So they took a ship across the ocean and ended up in the Eastern Kingdoms, and over many generations became the High Elves. The other very significant thing of note that has happened in Ashenvale's history pertains to the Third War and the battle for Mount Hyjal, when the humans and orcs landed on Kalimdor for the first time. As a collective, I guess. So Thrall tasked Grommash Hellscream and the Warsong Orcs with building an outpost in Ashenvale, and to do that they started cutting down trees in the sacred forest. At this time, I don't think they knew that the Night Elves existed, because they were hiding and watching them, but this pissed the Night Elves off, and so they started attacking the Orcs, who were all too happy to retaliate. Many skirmishes later, Grommash is looking for a way to win this conflict, and stumbles across a green fell blood pool in Ashenvale that he drinks from. I believe he doesn't know at the time that this is actually Manaroth's blood, because at this point the orcs had already drank and been enslaved to Manaroth's blood once before. But Grommash and his orcs do this. It gives them the power boost they need to fight against the Night Elves and actually kill Cenarius, one of the wild gods. Now, eventually, Grommash and his orcs are cured of their corruption, and he redeems himself pretty much by killing Manaroth in a canyon in southeastern Ashenvale that gets renamed Demonfall Canyon. And we can actually see this in-game in Classic. I believe there is a monument there dedicated to his sacrifice in killing the Pit Lord. But it's not until TBC that we get quests that really involve that place or take us there, so we're not going to see anything about that in this playthrough, but this mostly revolves around events that happened in Warcraft III and are more relevant to Cataclysm and onward. I should also say that it's at this time that the forces of the Burning Legion used the Skull of Gul'dan to corrupt the northern part of Ashenvale Forest and turn it into Felwood. But I'll get more into that when we get to the Felwood part of this series. So that is the somewhat long-winded history of events that happen in Ashenvale. So let's get to it.
How may I help?
I know these forests as if they were a part of me, but know that there is still much to be learned from them, and much danger still hidden.
Del Nadris.
A longtime friend of mine is also aiding the Sentinels here in Ashenvale, but he is yet to return. He had leads on finding an item that he thought could slow the Furbog attacks on our people, a rod created by a now-dead evil wizard. Before he left here, he mentioned seeking out a gem for the rod. He mentioned the gem possibly being hidden at the shrine in Lake Falathim at the base of the mountain to the west. The gem was being held there before it was overrun. Find my friend, please.
Good luck, friend. Farewell.
Directly to the north of Astronar are the Thistlefur Furbog. My scouts report that their numbers have grown greatly over the past few months. If they grow too great, they may find the courage to attack Astronar directly. Kill as many of their kind as you can, but bring me their chieftain's skull as proof that their efforts have been stifled. For now. I shall remain here in Astronar and wait word from you. Elune be with you.
Be careful. I am honored.
We elves have a long history. Let us hope this history does not return to haunt us.
Good luck, friend.
There is evil lurking on our northwestern coast, known as the Zoram Strand. It is the resting place of the doomed city of Zoram, destroyed during the Sundering and submerged beneath the seas. It has been lost to the Night Elves for ages. Lost and nearly forgotten. Now the Naga have returned, and for what reason we do not know. But reason matters little. We must slay these fiends and throw them back to the depths. Return to me when your mission is complete.
Del Nadris. Goddess watch over you.
The druid Kenneth Stillman sent word to me. He would like a report of the happenings along our coast and in the forests surrounding Astronar. He fears there is a corruption moving through Ashenvale, and he may be right. Here, take my report to him. You'll find him in the Shrine of Forest Song in the Night Song Woods to the east.
Farewell.
Peace be with you.
There's a plant that once grew in the old ruins of Bathran's haunt to the north. The plant was called Bathran's Hair, and was known to cure ailments of the spirit. There is a sick child in the village, and I believe it is more than just a physical illness. Will you go to Bathran's haunt and search it for Bathran's Hair? I may need it to properly treat the child. Bathran's haunt lies north of Maestra's Post and just south of the border to Darkshore.
Go in peace.
Oh my god, coming off the Darkshore quest and seeing one of the beached sea turtles with the carriages on it, like, I know that we learned in the Darkshore quest that the Naga use them as transportation, but it feels so validating to actually see one, like the environmental storytelling of actually seeing one just right here. They basically, for the most part in Northern Kalimdor, they're pretty much wherever the Naga pop up, because There's one off the coast of northern Darkshore that led to the Naga and Mithistra and Cliffspring Falls. There's one off the coast of southern Darkshore, which the quest giver speculated that it had perhaps been killed on the Naga's way down here, but then there's another one right here too, which explains all of the Naga presence here.
What brings you?
I would charge you with a task. I was on my small vessel, skimming over the submerged ruins of Zorm, when Naga attacked me, surging from the water and tearing at me with their claws. I fled, carrying what supplies I could to make this meager camp. But when I reached the shore and ran, my prized possession was lost. Please, find the site of my ambush along the coast to the north and search for an ancient statuette. It is the reason I've braved the dangers of the Zorm Strand.
Be careful.
So this is the city of Zorm, but it is actually also the location of Lathar'Lazal, aka Blackfathom Deeps. Though Lathar'Lazal's name, as we learned in Chronicle, translates to the seat of the sky. And originally it was a temple of Elune that Ajara helped create with Sharastal, Scepter of Tides, which is the, shaman restoration artifact weapon. And she helped create the temple basically by using the scepter's control over the oceans and rivers to physically shape the temple and bring in canals of water around it, and also sea life. There was a sea giant that ended up in the temple that she could use the scepter to sort of do tricks and stuff. And we learned about Lathar'Lazal in Chronicle, but I don't think we knew for a long time that Lathar'Lazal was actually the same thing as Blackfathom Deeps. It was speculated for a while because of its location on the Chronicle map, but it was never explicitly confirmed until much more recently. I think the only other thing we know about Blackfathom Deeps or Lathar'Lazal is that it had a pretty powerful moonwell in it. And that's sort of it. Well, and that it was destroyed during the Sundering along with the rest of the city here. I know that at some point in the past, the Twilight cultists ended up taking residence inside it, because deep inside Blackfathom Deeps is Akumai, a herald of the old gods, though I'm not totally sure how Akumai got there to begin with. But we do know at this point that the Naga are working with the Twilight's Hammer cultists, because the Naga are aligned with the old gods, and the Twilight's Hammer cult is basically all about worshipping the old gods and bringing them back.
I am honored.
Have you found the statuette?
Good luck.
You found it! Thank you! The old city of Zorm holds many secrets, and this statuette may be the key to many of them.
Goddess, watch over you.
The statuette must hold a hidden compartment. Phelan searches the ancient statuette. It's locked! No! I'm in need of your help once again.
Elune be with you.
I fear the ancient statuette's secrets will remain forever hidden unless you find the key to its ancient lock. That key is a ring. The Ring of Zorm. It belonged to the rulers of this city before the waves of the Sundering drowned it. For years the ring was lost, but the Naga have recently found it. Their leader, Ruzel, dwells on an isle on the northern edge of Zorm. Please retrieve the ring for me.
Elune, light your path.
It is said that the Ring of Zorm is the key to any lock within the city.
May the stars guide you.
So, somewhat niche speculation time, but as a Highborn lore aficionado, knowing that the Naga used to be Highborn and therefore pretty much the residents of these ruins, I've always sort of wondered if the Naga in these ruins were actually the people who lived here, or if they're more like random groups of Naga that were sent to these ruins. Because I think them searching these ruins is very intentional, in that as the previous inhabitants of these cities, they know what to find in here. Like, we very frequently see Naga pretty much wherever there are highborn ruins, looking through them for relics like they were in Darkshore. They're doing this here. They're also doing it literally in, like, TBC quests in Azure Mist Isle. And so I guess it makes sense that the former inhabitants of these ruins would get sent to these cities because they would know what sort of relics are here, right? But I don't think that was ever really clarified. But if you're ever wondering why there's a whole bunch of Naga always popping up in highborn ruins, it's because they used to be the people who lived in these highborn cities.
Hello. Till next
You found the ring! Thank you. Please take this as payment, and know that your deeds today will remain forever in my memory.
Be careful.
Tyronis' body lies broken atop the island. For some unknown reason, the Murlocs have left it alone. The deep slashes across his corpse obviously came from the weapons and claws of the Murlocs. As you rummage through Tyronis' belongings, you find a journal that is still in good condition. You take the journal and leave Tyronis' corpse as is. The only thing left to do is find the gem Tyronis was seeking. Raene mentioned it being in the area. Perhaps the Murlocs have it. Tyronis' journal. The journal is waterlogged, but in otherwise good condition. I started this journal so I could keep notes on my quest to help Ashenvale. There's a mystery to some of the events that occurred not too long ago, and hopefully I will be able to unravel some of it in order to help my people. Let me start by putting down facts, so they don't slip my mind at a later date. I've recently found truth to the rumors of the wizard Dartol's efforts. Where once I thought it preposterous that a human would come to our lands and learn our ways, this wizard, this evil man, came here and not only survived, but also gained some of our knowledge. I'm still uncertain how. I never discovered his goals during my investigation, but his plan seemed simple. Using druidic magic, he wanted to befriend and then control the Furbolg. If it was in an attempt to harm my kin or for some other malicious purpose, I hope to find out before my path ends. Regardless, he was apparently more successful than not in actualizing his plans. Did he want to attempt his machinations on the Furbolg before trying on my people? Did the Furbolg have something he coveted? Who knows? Using an item he created, a rod or staff of some kind, he attempted to infiltrate the Furbolg tribes of Ashenvale. At some point, and this is where many of the details are still unclear, he was discovered by the Furbolg while trying to manipulate them into acting against one another. As I'm sure the elves would be, the Furbolg were angered, but they reacted much more strongly and killed Dartol. The Furbolg, at least at this time, weren't the same corrupted creatures they've become. They were still rational and intelligent, their relationship with our people amicable. I'm hoping that if I can recreate the rod with the help of a dryad named Sheldrin, I can use its power to help our people and the Furbolg. Not all the Furbolg have been corrupted. Some still live and try to protect the forest. During the corruption, some of the Furbolg fled. Many were killed, and others were forced out of their tribes. I found a venerable Furbolg of the Foul-Wheeled tribe living above Lake Mistral. His name is Krolg. I've watched him for days, and I think if I were to approach him in the guise of a Furbolg, I could help him and discover a way to re-establish a bond between our people. Along with killing Dartol, the Furbolg split up the rod into 3 parts so it couldn't be used against them again. It has been difficult, but I have a good idea where all 3 parts were placed. The gem. The first part of the rod, a glowing gem, was hidden in a shrine in northwestern Ashenvale. I believe now this shrine is the ruins at the center of Lake Falathim. The sentinels tell me that it's been inhabited by murlocs now. If I can't find the gem hidden in the shrine, it might be in the possession of one of the murlocs. The shaft portion. This part of the rod was given to the treants near what is now called Felwood. Neither the Furbog nor my kind could have suspected that such magnificent creatures could ever fall to the corruption that's overtaken the land. My research tells me that the Guardians kept the piece in a small glade locked within a chest. To find out any more, I'll have to speak to Shealdrin. Shealdrin is a dryad who protects the Moonwell northeast of Lake Iris. She refuses to leave the forest or forsake it to the corruption. I know she has the power and knowledge to repair the rod, or to at least tell me how I can do it on my own. The pommel. The pommel of the rod was given to the druids of Dordanil. There's one major problem with this, though. The druids are dead. Their spirits now inhabit the area and are no longer hospitable. This may require more investigation. I'm not sure I'm powerful enough to fight the spirits of my dead kin, let alone delve into the depths of Dordanil and find the pommel. Note: during my preparations in Astronar, I've recently met a dwarf hunter who spent a good portion of his time in Ashenvale trying to help my people. He came from a place called Stormwind. We spoke over a few ales one night, and his tales have given me new hope of finding the pommel. He tells me he's been throughout all of Dordanil, and he's never seen a chest or any container that may hold the pommel. He also tells me that rotting slimes have inhabited the area, and they devour almost anything smaller than them. He's seen them eat tables, sculptures, bears, and even gnomes. The slimes seem to gain a great deal of sustenance from things magical. If the chest holding the pommel was enchanted at all, the slimes might have eaten it. It's a gamble, but I have no other clues at this time. As I find out more, I'll put the details here, but until then I shall work on finding the parts of the rod and helping Ashenvale.
Hello. Be careful.
Ah, welcome back.
Del Nadris.
This is terrible. Tyronis is dead? The time for mourning will come, but for now we must focus our efforts. I shall send some of the sentinels to recover Tyronis' body as soon as possible. You have Tyronis' journal and the gem he was seeking. Do you think you're capable of completing his task? I would rest much better knowing his death was not in vain.
Be careful. Farewell.
You'll have to do the research yourself, but from what notes Tyronis has made, it sounds like your next course of action is to find the other pieces of the rod Dartel created. I would start by heading to the Moonwell east of Iris Lake. When you're ready, follow the road and turn north when you reach a small sitting area on your left. A dryad there named Shealdrin is better suited to guide you. Seek her out. Keep the gem with you. Shealdrin will need it if she's to help you recreate the rod.
Good luck, friend. Goddess watch over you.
Before you travel to the Moonwell, I have another task that will aid the people of Ashenvale if you would like to test your skills. Along the road heading east before the Falfarin River, Furbogs have been attacking travelers. Their tortured minds feeding upon fear, and their appetites satiated by the blood of innocents. Aid the sentinels in protecting the lands by showing those monsters the same mercy they've shown our kind. I believe their camps are south of the road. Be careful.
Del Nadris.
I don't quite recall if we learn what's corrupting the Furbog here, but I assume it's pretty much the same thing that's also corrupting them in Darkshore, and to a lesser extent Teldrassil, which is pretty much just the corruption of the Burning Legion. I know that in Teldrassil it's Xavius taking a very active role in the corruption, and in Darkshore it is another satyr taking a very active role in the corruption. Here, I don't know if there's a specific demon involved, but just as Darkshore is subject to the corruption of Felwood, I think Ashenvale is just as much, or even especially more so, pretty much suffering the same thing. We cannot allow the Naga to invade our coasts. It is vital that you go to the Zormstrand and complete your mission.
Be careful.
Very well done. Your actions in the Zormstrand against the Naga are commendable. I know your feat was not easily accomplished, for the strength and guile of the Naga is well known to the Night Elves. We know this, for we share a history with them. It is a history I care not to repeat.
Good luck.
I had said in the Darkshore video that the Night Elves at this point didn't actually know that the Naga were previously Night Elves. That was sort of true, but sort of incorrect. Technically, they do know, as evidenced by that quest in Vanilla WoW, but I believe they only learned sort of at the time of Warcraft 3, because that's when we got the exchange between Maiev and Vosh, where Maiev was like, "What do you know about Night Elf justice?" And Vosh was like, "We used to be one of you." We're not in open war with the Horde, but our peace is fragile. We often find their agents moving against us, but they do so covertly. One such advance was revealed to us from hidden sources in Theramore, claiming that the orcs collect venom from the Pride Wings near Murkfallen Lake, in the Stone Talon Mountains to the south. Orc assassins then use the venom on their secret death raids against the Alliance. If this is true, then we must stop them. We must deny them their source of venom.
Goddess watch over you.
Hi!
Hello, how are you?
What is nature's
Oh,
call?
Raene sent you? It must be serious indeed. What can I help you with?
Ah, the great outdoors.
I wish your tidings were better. Raine's correct. I know about Dartle's creation and the treants in the area. At least, I did once. They've become corrupted now, their nature twisted. If your goal is to find the next piece of the rod, then you'll have to find the key to open the chest it's in. The wooden key is on one of the treants northeast of here near Fellwood. Once you have it, look for a small glade west of the road near the Fellwood border. The chest should be hidden around there. I'm actually curious if, given the timeline, since Fellwood would have been corrupted probably not too much long after the humans and orcs landed on Kalimdor, if this questline means to imply that Dartle ended up here earlier, if his whole exchange with the Furbolgs happened such that he was killed and then the rod was broken up into 3 different pieces and the key was given to the treants before they were corrupted, or if this was happening basically at the same time as all of that Warcraft 3 stuff. Because I feel like it's not technically unheard of for, like, to have seen humans on Kalimdor before the Third War. I know there's multiple examples of that I don't recall off the top of my head, though I do think one of them is in the Traveler novels, because I feel like there was some comment or something about Gadgetzan being a really hopping spot before the Third War, though I don't remember the specifics.
Is there trouble?
It upsets me so that the treants have become corrupt. I wish I could do more to help them.
What is nature's call?
I'm pleased to see you're back.
Ah, the great outdoors.
The final piece of the rod was given to the druids of Dordanil for safekeeping. I have no idea where they hid it. I'm sorry I can't help you more than that. All I can tell you is to follow the road that leads towards the Barrens. The druids took shelter to the east of that road, but they won't be of much help to you. They were killed recently. It's something I don't like to think about much. When you find the final piece, bring it to me and I will help you reconstruct the rod.
Hi!
Did you find the final piece of the rod?
Is there trouble?
You found the final piece? Wonderful for you. And for Raene. I guess we'll have to see about repairing it, won't we?
Hi!
The rod's design is simple. Dartle didn't use his arcane knowledge in its creation. It's more druidic in nature. I made a pun, didn't I? Druidic in nature. I'm so funny. Now then, the rod. Let's see about fixing it, shall we? There! Now it just needs to be recharged.
What is nature's call?
Here's the completed rod. Reconstructing it was simple. It's finding the shrine that has the power to recharge it that will be the hard part. With some focus and effort, it shouldn't be too hard for someone like you, who's already accomplished so much. Head southeast of here. There are very few paths, so be careful, and keep your eyes to the north. The shrine is hidden within the mountains that surround this glade. Once there, place the rod within the shrine. The rest is magic! You can sense a subtle yet powerful force within the shrine and surrounding trees. You begin placing the rod within the shrine, and a soft thrumming noise emits from around you as the shrine begins to glow. After the glow dies, you can see the re-enchanted rod within the shrine's basin. The rod, now complete, lies in your hands. Sheoldred will want to hear of your success.
Is there trouble?
You've done it! Well done!
Ah, the great
I suggest you find Raene and let her know the rod is finished. I'm sure she'll know what your next course should be. Good luck.
Hello. Farewell.
You've recreated the rod Tyrannus had set out to find? That's wonderful to hear. Tyrannus would be proud to see his quest is continuing, even after his tragic passing.
Goddess watch over you.
Alas, I'm not completely certain what he had in mind next. If what he said was true about the rod's power, then it will allow you to take on another form altogether. Which form, I do not know. Perhaps he meant to use its powers to get closer to the tainted furbogs, but even the uncorrupted creatures would slaughter him were he not careful. Transformed by the rod, Dartel would have to speak to a furbog who is safe from the effects of Felmos. I would start your search southeast of Mistral Lake.
Farewell.
Yes. Yes, you are one of my kind, but still whole, still clean. I'm unsure how you have escaped the atrocities the Night Elves have visited upon our people, but I am glad to know that I am no longer alone. Corruption now runs through the veins of our kin, young one. Corruption brought down upon us by the prideful Night Elves. They are the ones who did this to our people. They are the ones I blame for being cast out of my tribe. At night I can still see the campfires burning in the darkness. The Night Elves are as old as time, but their arrogance destroys their very world. And now it destroys our lives too. But that can no longer be controlled. I blame the elves for much, but we are still responsible for our actions. Even beyond the corruption, we are capable of great evil. Rand Bloodtooth is one such evil. Power-hungry, lusting. The corruption has only made him stronger. My hatred for the elves burns, but I do not wish ill upon their children, so we must police our own. You have done well, my friend. The forest is still tainted, but at least we know we've done a small part to return it to its former glory. If you wish to return to me again, I would enjoy the company of my own kind. Be well. Perhaps our tribes will meet again under less violent times. Return to your own tribe and let them know of your victory here. Show them your trophy and bask in the glory.
Ishnu Allah, Del Nadris.
The Sentinels do what they can here in Ashenvale. But it's thanks to Night Elves like you that we've gained the ground we have.
Be careful.
So this is the skull of the fiercest furbog threat in Ashenvale? I am more than pleased with your abilities. The Sentinels cannot thank you enough. I hope we can rely on you again in the future to help our people. I shall put this skull and Dartel's rod in a place of reverence for others to see. Tyrannus would be proud. Thank you again.
Good luck, friend.
And I am going to call it there for part 1 of our Ashenvale playthrough. Did the Zormstrand and did all of the Raine's cleansing quest chain? I think most of the other stuff left in Ashenvale isn't super linear, just sort of random things here and there. So I guess we'll just pick up with that next time and do a little bit of everything. I know the Scythe of Elune questline is closer to level 30, and there's a few other small quest lines, like we have to do the sick child one, and then I know there's the one at Mistral Lake where you have to kill the water elementals, and that takes you to the Barrens. So that's it for part 1 of our Ashenvale story playthrough. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you for part 2. This is awful. Why is there a spider? Oh god, there's more behind me. Why are there so many bears? Alright, I'm scared. Hello? I'm doing this again. This is so bad. The same model, but a slightly different color. Oh my god, it's a red quest. Hello. Oh, it's a stone talon no, pass. Hard pass. Later. I hate these bears. Yeah, no, I really wish I had aquatic form. That's 4 levels above me. Mistakes. Guys, I didn't die this video at all. Cringe.